As we all know, detailing is full of hype, myths, straight up lies. Most people don't even realize it. How could you if you're not knee deep in the weeds of the industry like some of us are? So today I'm exposing four, maybe a bonus one too if we get real excited here, of the biggest ones that brands and influencers really don't want you to know, and are kind of like taboo, kind of behind the scenes. And it stems from my experience in this industry for, I don't know, 16, 18 years. And I've done everything from mobile detailing to product consulting with Turtle Wax for 5 years, being on one of their global teams that actually, innovated, developed, and launched products into a global market. I got a ton of experience with how the retail side of things work, and I also have extensive experience in private labeling, and I private label for some of your favorite Amazon brands and have been directly worked with a lot of those Amazon brands, Facebook ad brands, all that. So I've really tried everything in the industry. I've been kind of in the front with YouTube and being a quote unquote influencer, I guess, but I've also been in a lot of backdoor meetings and seen a lot of things that go on. And I work directly with chemists because of my private label background. I worked for a private blender here in LA for a long time, and then branched out on my own when they couldn't perform for a few products that my clients were looking for then. And so I've worked with a group of actual real life chemists, not just people that act like they're a chemist, but real life. And I can prove that by, working with Tom when we talked about the polish. And one big differentiator about my brand that I'm trying to do is I actually showed the development of the process of new products. I'm doing it right now with a foam on rinse off application, because it's really something that a lot of, call them influencers or brands, they actually can't show or don't show. And so I know it's easy to say like, oh, I work directly with the chemist and blah, 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 blah. But if you're not working with real samples and you're not showing kind of the development of a product and showing the behind the scenes, it gets harder to believe that you're actually working directly with chemists and that you can actually tweak things beyond color and scent, right? So so let's get into lie number one, I guess, which would be the biggest one, I think. So starting with the heavy hitter, not making you wait at all. Lie number one is that big brands have better chemistry. Okay, so this might have been more believable before chemical guys really took off, but this is a massive misunderstanding. Most people really do think that the bigger the company, the better the formulas. And whether it's chemical guys like I just mentioned, or Turtle Wax, or Meguiar's, or whatever, Meguiar's specifically, we've seen over the past few years of their chemistry go away. But the reality is that the bigger the brand, the bigger the budget is to do influencer deals, package design, and a ton of money gets sucked up in shelf space and payroll. So the bigger the company, the bigger budgets they have for payroll, for package design, pretty much anything other than the liquid in the bottle. This is it was mind-blowing to me when I started to see this. Basically, when I worked at the private label, the first blender that I worked at, when I started to see this, who private labeled a lot of chemical guys' products, and then into my Turtle Wax and in those days of that, I really thought, like most brands, I still like to believe that most brands focus on the liquid in the bottle first and everything is secondary. And what I found out is that is opposite. And I know that's crazy. Maybe that's doesn't seem right, but it is 100% true. And to be honest, it's not necessarily the brand's fault. It's just kind of the nature of how businesses go when they get too big and you get too disconnected from your end user, from your customer. Big brands are trying to get more shelf space at Walmart, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Auto Parts, whatever. They want to get, at eye level, and they pay for that spacing. They want to get an end cap. They want to get, a cardboard cutout right when you walk in. They're jockeying with all the other brands, and they're spending all their time jockeying for this stuff and then paying payroll because they have a lot of people on staff that need to have all these meetings and stuff. And so what goes by the wayside, ironically, is the thing that could actually do better for the brand, I think, even better than shelf space, and that's making a better liquid in the bottle. That's what was a big motivation for me when I had that epiphany, when I actually saw this happen. I couldn't believe it. And so I was like, why are they, that is my blue ocean. I'm a big fan of the Blue Ocean Strategy book. And so I'm like, man, how do I play in this, seemingly red ocean? And that would mean, everyone talks about, oh, it's oversaturated and blah, 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 blah. Well, it's only oversaturated. I came to realize the market only seems oversaturated because there's so many lookalike brands because no one's actually innovating anything. Or if they are innovating, it's very slightly, right? Hey, we changed up the packaging. We put it in a different box. We see this with Meguiar's. They had fast finish, and then they had the blue bottle stuff, and we've just seen it over and over and over with a bunch of people, a bunch of brands. And so they hardly innovate the liquid in the bottle. How about that, right? So it is a flat out lie that big brands have better chemistry. You think they would, but they actually don't, right? And in fact, a lot of big brands just kind of white label they use big blenders, right? Big blending houses. And so they kind of just white label a lot of times. So, again, I'm not, I know a lot of people get caught up in like white labeling, private labeling, what's the difference, but yada, yada, yada. I don't get too caught up in that because in that world, the back end of detailing, it's not that secretive. It's not that like important. No one really cares. It's just seemingly the people on the front that seem to care. But the people on the front only seem to care because they're lying. They're trying to hide something like, oh, we work directly with chemists and blah, 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 when they actually don't, right? That's why they get pissed off. But again, this was my blue ocean opportunity after working and seeing the world of these big brands, both with the first blender. Then when I got at Turtle Wax, I'm like, whoa, I assumed that they were just the best, right? And it's just not true, which was very hard to kind of wrap my mind around. It's been years and years now, but it's kind of defeating, and it honestly took a lot away from me, and it took a lot of the joy away from the industry because I really did have the opinion that like, hey, brand X, Y, and Z has my best interest in mind when they're developing a new product and trying to sell me on a new product at SEMA. And, they spent all this money on a booth, and they spent all this money bringing the people here and all this money doing this. And it has to be a good product, right? And then after being let down over and over and over, and then finally getting to see behind the curtain, I went, oh gosh, it's not always the end user's best interest in mind. Half the time, they don't even consider the end user. I'm not saying this about Turtle Wax. I'm just saying in general, through my torture test videos, through working with the blender, and my time at Turtle Wax, all combined together, and hearing data from other brands as well, is like a lot of times the focus is on everything but the end consumer, which is what I think they have backwards. And so I set out to change that with Jimbo's. That was my blue ocean strategy of, hey, if I focus solely on the liquids in the bottle, yes, I want a cool label. Yes, I want a great design. Yes, I want my website to be easy to navigate. But like, if my number one thing can be liquid in the bottle, and that's my main focus, because here's my thought. If you trust me enough to make a first purchase and try something in the bottle, we've all been let down, right? And so if you trust me enough to make a purchase, you get the bottle and you are let down by that, you will obviously never make another purchase. On the contrary, if you get it and you're like, oh my gosh, this stuff's amazing, you will be more willing to try other stuff. And I have a big theory that it is much easier to sell to someone who already knows, likes, and trusts you than a new customer. And one thing I saw with my private label clients is they're always going for the next new customer, and they don't focus enough, in my opinion, on the returning customers. So I have two major things. I focus really hardcore on the liquids in the bottle and really hardcore on following up with my current customers. And if you're a current customer, you know this, looking for ways to surprise and delight people, and all that. So again, I'm getting a little bit off on a tangent, but the bigger the brand doesn't necessarily mean the better the chemistry. So lie number 2, this kind of goes into the lies that big brands do to kind of cover up their inferior liquids in the bottle. more steps does not mean more professional. So, brands will push this like 10-step system, pre-wash, 2-bucket method, drying aid, glaze, wax, topper, because more products, or more steps rather, equal more products. And we see this all the time in everyone's product line, it seems like. Super redundant products, right? That have marginal difference from each other. And so again, this plays into why the industry seems oversaturated, because brands release look-alike products because they think just throwing another product out there will be good. And then to differentiate it themselves a little bit, they throw it into a system, and before you know it, you have 4 or 5 different compounds and polishes instead of just one. Why? Because bigger brands don't necessarily have better chemistry, and they have bigger payrolls. They need to pay for that shelf space. So if they can throw out more SKUs, that means more sales, more money, right? The reality is that we're trying to have fun doing this, but we need to make it efficient. And most people don't have all day to detail their car. So if you think about it, would you rather spend 4 hours washing a car or 45 minutes and get the same result? Okay. I see these people scrubbing their tires with 4 different cleaners and scrubbing their rims like crazy. And I'm like, if you just had Pure Magic Cleaner, you wouldn't even have to touch your rims to clean it, right? And again, this is my blue ocean too. With Jimbo's fewer steps, I'm taking the opposite approach. I really I look at what people are doing. Here, let me back up a little bit. The traditional steps of starting a product brand is not too dissimilar from starting a detail business. You want to start a detailing business, you look what other detailers are doing, and then you blindly follow them, and then you don't know what to do, right? Because it's the blind leading the blind, essentially. And so what I've seen and what I've noticed, and I've talked about this for years and years and years and years, whether it's at SEMA or whatever, that brands just follow other brands. I mean, geez, we see it right now. It's like one brand runs a Labor Day sale, and before you know it, it's like every single brand is running a Labor Day sale. So what I try to do is do the exact opposite. So who didn't run a Labor Day sale? Me. Why do I not run a lot of sales? Because I don't think my products need to be discounted. I think, and I'm trying to find the people that want quality products at good prices all the time. I see all these influencer brands right now running a sale literally every month. They're running a sale. And I just tell myself, well, why don't they just lower the price 15% and stop running the stupid sale? To me, it's just like, oh, so your products are overpriced? Because from a business perspective, running a sale actually hurts. You lose margin, you lose profitability, and then you lose product. So you need to reorder inventory with less and worse cash flow. It's like crazy. And I don't want to attract a customer that's always looking for a discount, which maybe I shouldn't be even saying this, So I don't offer a lot of discounts. I offer a few targeted discounts around, important events for my brand. It's usually around the brand's birthday and my personal birthday, right? And that's a way to celebrate. I want to use the sale to celebrate with people and let them celebrate. But for the other, 360 days of the year or whatever, I want to focus on delivering quality products at a quality price and getting amazing results and attracting people that see the value in that. Because guess what? Those are better customers too. Okay. Not saying if you use a discount, you're a bad customer. I'm just saying discounting all the time is crazy. So again, I've taken the opposite approach. Most brands say more steps, you're more professional, blah, blah, blah. I say, let's do it fewer steps with better chemistry, super soaper, all dressed up, tough as shell. Let's cut off hours of a detail without sacrificing the result. Because if you get the end result, if net the result is the same, why would you spend more time doing it? Why would you spend more money doing it? That's a perfect example too. People actually don't complain about the price of my product, which makes me think that I'm a little too cheap. But if you look at something like the Picture Perfect Polish, it took me 6 months to develop and produce that product completely from scratch, right? One product can replace 3 to 4 other products. Now, when I thought about how do I price this product, obviously my hard cost comes into play here. But when I look at the market and I see what other people are charging for one product, and I have one that will replace 4, I thought to myself, well, I can't charge. I guess I could have, but like, do I charge $130 for a 16-ounce bottle? Because that would still be cheaper than having 4 other compounds and polishes and primer polishes on your shelf, right? Because you only need one. And maybe that's stupid from a brand perspective, but from a morality perspective, I'm just like, if I could shove everything, the chemistry of 4 different products into one, I'm just going to sell one. I don't need redundant products. It doesn't really do anything for me. It just actually makes me have to be a better marketer and salesperson. But really, I just think honesty is the best marketing, right? So get off my high horse on that one. So lie number 3, longer protection claims equals a better product. Man, have we seen this one go crazy? And this is a reason why I pay attention to what other brands are doing, but I definitely don't follow and I definitely don't copy what other brands are doing like a lot of other brands do, because we've gone into this place or gotten to this place where everyone just says their product lasts longer. It's 5-year protection, 8-year protection, 9-year protection. And really everyone knows by now, this is just a marketing game, right? And I talked about this in a previous video. It's about the 1-year spray coating, and everyone went 1 year, 6 months. And I talked about the difficulty from a brand's perspective of quantifying that, right? And so, I usually tell myself if a spray bottle says it's going to last 5 years, it probably won't last 5 weeks in real world, rain, sun, wash it. So durability claims are usually lab test under perfect conditions, right? And there's no better proof than when I would do torture tests and people would say, well, that's not real world conditions. It's like, well, no, it's not. Real world conditions are probably more harsh. But I like to take products to the extreme. So, anyway, the longer the protection claims does not mean the product is better. The reality is the easier a product is to use, the more likely you'll reapply or keep using it, which means your car will actually stay protected longer. This is a hack that I tell all my customers in my detailing business when they say, well, how long does this ceramic coating last? And I tell them, hey, I could tell you it's going to last 5 years, right? But the reality is I could also teach you real easy in 10, 15 minutes and a couple products how you can make this ceramic coating last forever, literally forever. And that's not marketing BS. That's just using quality products, reapplying often. And the reality beyond that is if you're listening to this podcast or you're watching a YouTube video about car detailing, the chances are you're not going to apply a product, ceramic coating, a ceramic spray, whatever, and do nothing to your car for the next 6, 12 months, 5 years, 10 years. That is just not reality, right? If you're interested in ceramic coatings, you're interested in ceramic sprays, chances are you're washing your car often. You want your car looking nice for a long time. And I think the perfect place where ceramic coatings or ceramic sprays fit in is they're just additional insurance to make sure that your car is gonna look better for longer, right? But the chances are, if you're a car person, car girl, car guy, whatever, car person, right, that you are going to touch your car often. You're going to wash your car often. So do you really need something that lasts 10 years and is a nightmare to apply? Or would you rather have something that lasts 5 years or 6 months or 3 months, but it, is really, really easy to apply? And that's why something like the Gloss Boss and Toughest Shell, they're built for reapplication. They're simple, they're fast, but honestly, they're super, super durable too. Why? Because I have better technology. So, line number 4, detailing is about perfection. So brands, YouTubers, they sell the dream of this like perfection. 100% paint correction, concourse level gloss. Cars, literally, you're afraid to breathe on. You ever see those videos that it's like, oh, we just spent 40 hours on a detail. It's like cool content, super fun to watch, but like who's got 40 hours to detail their minivan, their Honda Odyssey, right? So, and even then, if you're doing it for money, are you sure that person's paying for that? A 40-hour detail? You sure about that? Because I think the truth is perfection is unsustainable. And I think chasing it can actually damage your car. Too much correction, too much clear coat loss, boom, issues down the line. So I think the reality and the real world detailing, as I call it, is a balance of this. How do we become efficient, safe for our paint, our car, but also for us as the humans actually doing the work, and good enough results that matter more than endless polishing? I don't know about you guys, but part of, developing the picture perfect polish too was like, polishing is not my favorite part of the process at all. It's super boring to me. I don't enjoy it at all. So I want to, and me and Tom used to laugh at this because he really loves paint polishing. I don't love paint polishing. And so I was coming at it from a position when we were developing the product of like, hey, I want to get this done as quickly as possible. And Tom was coming at it from a point of like, yes, let's get it done quick and as good as possible, but as safely as possible. Right. And so, what do you think is more realistic? A show car you never drive, or a clean car, protected daily, you enjoy it every day? That is, I think, the endless car debate that is going to go on forever. Do you drive the car or do you keep it a trailer queen, right? Are cars meant to be driven or are cars meant to be looked at? Are they art pieces or are they art pieces with wheels? And I think that'll be kind of the debate that goes on forever. But again, in the real world, and what I focused on for my product line are they're made for daily drivers, pros who care about the results. And if you want to chase perfection, they will get you there. I just had someone email me in that used the picture perfect polish on a couple concourse cars. And he said, I am literally throwing away everything out of my cabinet, replacing it with the picture perfect polish because that's all I need. In fact, truth be told, he said, hey, I'm going to keep him around because if I get into a pickle. But the reality is that he's always going to reach for the picture perfect polish because it was just perfect, right? And so my products have uniqueness where they can meet you where you're at. If you're a beginner, I've had beginners in Texas that are applying a ceramic coating for the first time and saying what a dream it is. And then I have the full opposite side of the spectrum where there's professional detailers doing concourse level results. So I want my products to be able to meet you wherever you are. So I don't have a consumer line and a pro line. Doesn't make any sense to me. Why wouldn't you just make products that work for both? But again, if you don't want to chase perfection, you can still get great results. If you don't want to clay bar your car before you apply Toughest Shell, you don't have to. It's still going to work for you. It's still not going to wash off. You may not get the best results, right? But let's go into a bonus number 5 lie that we're seeing right now. And I just will touch on it a little bit. This is a bonus. A lot of the influencer brands you're seeing right now are not their brands. This may be controversial for some, maybe eye-opening for others. They are simply licensing deals. And guess what? That's 100% okay. 100% okay. And maybe you don't even care. Some people don't. Does it even matter? I don't know. But the problem becomes is that when you, the consumer, are looking to support someone, you may be supporting someone that that isn't even really involved. It's no different than affiliate commission, right? And so a lot of these influencer-led brands that we're seeing right now are just licensing deals for their name. They're not working and developing the chemicals that they say they are. And how we could tell is if their surroundings haven't changed. Look, when you look at my videos, you see the boxes in the background. I'm literally packing up your orders, right? And another brand that comes to mind is Shine Supply. When Jeremy puts out a video, you see his shipping department. You see his downfilling department. You see everything about it. When Kosh Chemi USA, you see their products coming in on pallets and all that. And with a lot of these influencer-led brands, you don't see anything. They're still just in their same garage. They're not packing up any orders. They're not even using their own fulfillment house. And so just know, which again, maybe that's fine, but just know that you may not be supporting the person that you think you're supporting through that. So that is the bonus extra lie number 4. So the 4 original lies: big brands equal better chemistry. Not true. More steps equals you're more of a professional. Not true. Longer claims equal better. Well, my ceramic coating lasts 13 years. That one only lasts 3. Not true. And perfection being the goal. Not true. I will say with an asterisk in most cases. So, and then number 5, a lot of these are just licensing deals, which I wish the influencers would just come out and say it, that, hey, I don't actually own this. You can look up the paperwork, and I don't actually own this. I'm simply licensing my name, leveraging what I've taken the time to build, which no one would fault you for that at all. I wish you would just tell the truth, but that's in their court. I don't know why they're deciding to do that. It seems like a cash grab to me. But again, like I've been talking about through this whole podcast, for my product brand, Jimbo's Detailing, I try to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. So though it's going to add to more gray hairs and probably balding because it's extremely stressful to grow your brand, it's the way I see fit for me. So all 4 of these myths or lies or whatever you want to talk about, or 5 of them, they're really costing people money, time, and sometimes even damaging their car, which is why I wanted to shoot this video. So when you know the truth, you can detail smarter, not harder, and you can enjoy the process. So everything I mentioned today obviously is available at jimbosdetailing.com. If Amazon's easier for you, I have a full store there too. Again, I'm for the people. Links are in the description. And then let me know, what lie have you fallen for before? Either drop a comment or send me a DM, send me an email, jimbo@jimbosdetailing.com. I'd love to hear any of the lies or myths that your products that you've fallen for. So not that it's fun to talk about the myths and lies that you've gotten trapped in, but sometimes with time, it's fun to reminisce on those. So drop a comment, send me a message or a DM, and we'll laugh together. How about that? So thanks for the support for the Jimbo's Detailing products. Again, I'll have everything linked below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.